Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a weekly reads video for April the 6th through the 12th. So my weekly reads videos, I talk about all the books that I've read this week. I let you guys know kind of what I'm currently reading, plan to finish next week. I have a book haul, a large book haul this week. I will talk about that as I get to it. And I show you guys my crafting that I've been working on this week, and I talk about some real life stuff. If you can see some movement, that's a cat foot right up there. He's up in his tower currently. You can't see him, I'm sorry. But yeah, Gorn is up in the tower, so he might come down and join us. We shall see. But anyway, the other thing before I get into everything, if you can hear that noise in the background, that sounds like a printer, that's because it is. My husband's using his 3D printer, and he's in the middle of printing something, and he didn't really want to stop it, so I did a test run, and it doesn't sound that bad. Like, it's not overwhelming. My mic isn't picking it up too bad from what I can tell. But if you can and it bothers you, I do apologize. In the future, just please let me know, and I'll make sure to not, to make sure that he does not have that going when I'm doing a video. So this will kind of be like a little test run, so I do apologize. So yes, he does have a 3D printer. It was a slightly cheaper one than what most of them cost. He had to completely put it together himself, including wiring it and everything. So he's been fiddling with it for about 3 weeks now, and he's printed some pretty cool things. There's some pretty fun things. He made me this. My little llama. Isn't he cute? So yeah, so this is my little llama friend. I've been waiting to show you guys, and now I'm going to take him to work, and he's going to sit on my desk at work because he's pretty awesome. But I'm going to stick him up here for now, for the video, so he can kind of hang out with us. But yeah, so let's jump into the video. So I finished 7 books this week, you guys. That's pretty average for me, to be completely honest. Between 7 and 8 books is my norm for a week. So first book that I finished this week was Shelter in a Soldier's Arms by Susan Mallery. This is a contemporary romance novel. It is Harlequin Special Edition number 1400. It was narrated on audio by Tanya Eby. Published originally in 2001. This was given 3.84 stars on Goodreads, and I gave it 4 stars. This was a really cute story. This one I read for the Pick It For Me challenge that I do on the Romance Readers reading group on Goodreads, where you get paired up with someone else and they pick books for you, and you kind of pick books for somebody else. Like, you don't get paired up with the same person that you that's picking for you. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, this is the book that I did not have on my TBR. So the woman who picked for me, I had 8. She gave me 8 picks. 4 were on my TBR already and 4 were not. So this is one that wasn't on my TBR, but I decided to read it because she said it was a favorite of hers with Susan Mallery, and I am a big fan of hers. And obviously this is an older one from 2001. This one was so good. It was about a woman by the name of Ashley, and she is a single mom of a little girl. I think the daughter's like 4. And she is a cleaning lady for this very high-tech security company. And one night she kind of falls asleep at work because she's got the flu. She picked up the flu off of her daughter, which is typical when you have kids. Kids are little germ factories, and I do love kids. And so anyway, a series of events kind of happens, and Jeff, who's our male protagonist, he kind of swoops in and wants to take care of her and, make her life easier, whereas she's very much, I want to do it for myself kind of an idea. So it's like an atypical romance story, but it was so good. I listened to this one, like I said, on audio. This one, the cover's going to be a little bit different if you're looking for it on audio, because this is part of the Harlequin Bestselling Authors Collection. So it included this story and not the next one I'm going to talk about, but the one after. So I did listen to both audiobooks. Like, it's one audiobook, but I broke it into 2 separate books for this, for my, I do that with anthologies. If it's a full-length novel that it's just like bound up together, I will count each book separately. Because they are 2 completely different books, and I think they deserve to be talked about separately. But yeah, so this was really good. I really enjoyed it. If you get a chance to pick this one up at a thrift store, or, again, if you own this copy, I will put the image. I'll have the original cover image from the special edition line, and then I'll put the redone cover with the, for the Bestselling Authors Collection here as well, so you guys can, so you know what you're looking for, essentially. But yeah, really cute. The kid was adorable. So kids can be touch and go in books for me. I find sometimes they could be like really annoying or anything, or you know what I mean? But this kid, it was just the right amount of kid in this book. But I did find once the romance got started, the kid kind of fell to the wayside. I'm like, well, where's the little girl? Like, who's looking after the little girl? Like, nobody mentioned, like, if they were going out or anything like that, that somebody was babysitting. And then all of a sudden the kid reappears again. So, that was kind of a little, but it's just something I noticed, but it doesn't take away from the story. So yeah, this one was really, really cute. Adult content, atypical for Susan Mallery. This is a behind the closed doors adult content. But yeah, highly enjoyable. The next book that I finished, I think I had 4 Harlequin books in a row, which was kind of fun, was A House Full of Fortunes by Judy Duarte. This is another contemporary romance novel. It is The Fortunes of Texas, Welcome to Horseback Hollow, book number 4. Harlequin Special Edition 2323, originally published in 2014. Average rating of 4.33 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. This was another cute story. This was Angie and Toby. And like I said, the 4th in the Horseback Hollow series. You do not have to necessarily read the story in order. This is a series that irked me at the very beginning because the whole premise, like The Fortunes of Texas, is this overarching series within the special edition line. I've talked about this before, but just in case you're new, that has been running forever. And, there's different sub-series within that series, and The Fortunes of Texas is a family, The Fortunes of Texas. The Fortunes is the family name. So for this mini-series within that larger series is about a woman who was adopted when she was a baby and has now found her real family. And her real family is the Fortunes. And she had, gotten married. I mean, she's a grown woman with grown children. Because the story is about her kids. Like, each of the stories are about her children. And so she was married for a long time. Like, her kids are in their 20s. And she finds out she has this long-lost family, that she's a fortune. So she's now insisting that her adult children take the last name Fortune. Like Fortune Jones. And it irked me to no end over the first 2 books. And every time it was mentioned, it was like nails on a chalkboard to me. I don't know why, but it drove me bonkers. I'm like, how dare you insist that your adult children do this? But c'est la vie. This one did not mention it that much, so this one was a really good one. So like I said, this is the story of Angie and Toby. And Angie lives in town, and she's kind of flittering through life. She takes a job here, she takes a job there. She can't make a decision. She can't make a decision on what she wants to do for the rest of her life. And I totally feel her, because I'm 40 years old and I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But she's kind of ahead in the clouds, and her mom's very focused and very, I want you to do this and I want you to do that, and Angie just doesn't want to. So Toby lives in town as well, and they kind of knew each other when they were kids. And he has custody of these 3 little kids, 2 boys and a girl. And I must have maybe not skipped over it as I was reading it, but maybe it just didn't register in my head. But I can't figure out how he has custody of these children. He's not their uncle, he's not a cousin, he's not anything like that. He took the custody from their aunt, who ended up having to go into rehab because of an alcohol addiction. And so he's kind of like, now he's fostering them, essentially. And he wants to adopt them. But the aunt, like, part of the plot of this book is that the aunt's now, out of rehab, and she's like, everything's changed. I'm going to be a good person. And, I want to take them back, kind of an idea. So he's kind of fighting for them. And, of course he's falling for Angie at the same time. Again, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. The kids in this book were adorable. I really, really liked them. I thought they were super sweet. One thing that kind of bothered me is that, yes, he knew Angie from when they were kids, but they kind of, it's more of like a passing acquaintance in town, like somebody you'd run into at the grocery store, or at the gas station, or at the local bar, or whatever. Like, hey, how are you doing? Howdy, neighbor, kind of an idea. And at the very beginning of the book, he's taking all 3 kids fishing, and the little girl, she doesn't want to go. So Angie pipes up and she's like, well, I'll take her to my house for the afternoon. We can have a girls' day. And he like totally hands her off. I'm like, she's a stranger. Like, what are you teaching these kids? I found that part of it a little bit weird, because it's not even like they were good friends. Like, if they were good friends, I could accept it a bit more, but that kind of really irked me at the beginning of the book. And, that he was just so free to give the one kid off, and, without really, really knowing this woman. So, whatever. But anyway, yeah, cute story. Again, if you run across it and you have it on your TBR to read, pick it up. I liked it. And yeah, 3.5 stars. The next one I finished was the other one from The Shelter in a Soldier's Arms, from the best-selling author book. This was Donovan's Child by Christine Rimmer. This is another contemporary romance, of course. It is Bravo Family Book number 30. This is definitely a series you do not have to read in order. This is, again, a series that follows a family, you know, so each story is individual. 30 books, all of them have been written by Christine Rimmer. I looked. Because a lot of the times, like the Fortunes of Texas series, they're written by different authors, and you're getting, like, you know, different authors writing all these different books. But the Bravo series have all been written by Christine Rimmer. And this is another very well-to-do family in Texas, essentially. So what we're learning from this today is that Texas has an abundance of very well-to-do families, and big families. Harlequin Special Edition number 2095, narrated on audio by Will Dameron. So the first book was narrated by Tanya Eby. This one was narrated by somebody different. It was a gentleman, and I really liked it. It was very well done. Originally published in 2011. Average rating of 3.59 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. So this is the story of Abilene and Donovan. And Donovan had a major accident about a year or two ago. And he was a very famous architect, and he's now become a recluse. He's in a wheelchair. Now, he's not paralyzed. He does have use of his legs, but it's extremely painful for him to even stand, even just to brush his teeth. So most of the time he spends in a wheelchair. Like I said, he's become a recluse. But he has this very big job for, I believe, a children's school of some kind, like a special needs children's school. And he's designing it, but he kind of did like a contest to pick someone to apprentice under him and help design this school. And Abilene was the one who won. So she ends up going to his very isolated ranch. Now, there's other people on this ranch. He's got housekeepers and a chef and things like that. So it's not just her and him that are isolated there because of major red flags. But, of course, he's very bitter. He's very angry. It's that kind of a story. He also has a backstory that I'm not going to get into, but the title of the book might give it away. There was an incident involving a child. And, yeah, Abilene is pretty much just trying to get him to come out of his shell and stuff like that. Again, a very atypical contemporary romance novel. I highly enjoyed it. Christine Rimmer is a great author, and this one was a lot of fun. And again, if you come across it or you've got it on your TBR, definitely give it a read. The next book that I finished was Sophie's Attic by Robin Elliott. This is another contemporary romance novel. Silhouette Desire number 725. This was originally published in 1992. This is my 1992 book for my 40 Years of Harlequin project. It has an average rating of 2.75 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3 stars. This one was enjoyable. It wasn't like rush out and read it, but I really enjoyed reading this one, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It's about a woman whose father, she's been told her father is dead. Her father was a private eye or something like that, and he's going after this bad guy, and he ends up getting shot. And you know this at the beginning of the book, so I'm not giving away any major spoilers if you did read this book, that he's not dead, he's in a coma. But in order to protect her, they are telling the daughter that he is dead. And there's a man by the name of Tyson, the daughter's name is Sophie, and there's a man by the name of Tyson who works with her father as a private investigator as well. And he's kind of there to protect her and keep her from harm because these bad guys think that she has this like microchip thing that her dad was supposed to be delivering. So the story kind of goes from there. So there's a really great intrigue, romantic suspense plot that's kind of running through this story. Being a desire novel, it's a little bit spicier than your atypical Harlequin. Like, it's more spicy than like a super romance or a special edition or something like that. It was written in 92, so it still doesn't cross too many boundaries. I would still consider it to be more behind closed doors adult content. And yeah, it was a good story. I mean, it was very short, very enjoyable. Again, another one. If you happen upon it, pick it up and give it a read. It will not take too much of your time. The characters were fun. The plot was fun. It takes place in Chicago. And, you know, kind of, you had that whole feeling of like gangster kind of an idea with these bad guys and these goons. But yeah, I liked it quite a bit. The next one that I finished was Hate to Want You by Alisha Ray. This is another contemporary romance novel. Book number 1 in the Forbidden Heart series. This was narrated on audio by Summer Morton and Jeremy York. Published originally in 2017, an average rating of 3.82 stars on Goodreads, and I gave this one 4 stars. This is the other one for the Pick It For Me challenge. This is the one that was on my bookshelf. I've had this one on my shelf for a little while. I think I picked up an ebook copy of this not that long ago, and then I was able to grab it from my library on audio, so that was great. This one was good. I really enjoyed this story. They are labeling this as a interracial romance because she is, what's her name again? Livy. I do write the characters' names down or else I would totally forget. It's Livy and Nicholas, or Nico as he goes by. And she is Japanese Hawaiian and he is Greek. So they consider it to be like an interracial romance. And well, I guess it would be, wouldn't it? But she is, both of them come from very prominent families, and their families were very, very good friends with each other. Like their grandfathers were friends back during the Second World War. And eventually, the two men started this like grocery store chain empire. And then their kids, so Livy and Nico's parents, their, separate individual parents, ended up having a big falling out. I'm not going to get into all the background on it because you really need to read the book because it was really, really interesting the way everything played out. But they end up having a falling out. And Nico's family essentially takes the business from Livy's family, and they're not left desolate by any stretch of the imagination. But they have enough now to live comfortably. But Livy decides she's so angry at the family, and she's angry at Nico because they were seeing each other. They were dating in high school, early college. And it's now been, I think, like 8 years since they've seen well, no, I can't say that. There's been some meetings between Livy and Nico. And, but she's gone off and kind of been on her own, and she doesn't want to see the family. She doesn't want to deal with any of the problems and stuff like that. But now she's back in town because her mother broke her hip. So she's trying to help, and her and her mother have a very strained relationship. Livy is a tattoo artist by trade. And Nico is, working, of course, for the company. And the story goes from there. And it's kind of the two of them. It's very much, in a way, like a Romeo and Juliet, where the two families don't like each other, but they're kind of seeing each other on the sly kind of an idea. It was extremely well written. This one gets very spicy, heavy, heavy, heavy on the adult content, so keep that in mind. But yeah, this one was really enjoyable. The one thing at the end of reading this book is I really wanted to get another tattoo after, because it's talked about quite a bit in this book. And so I actually ended up booking an appointment for June to get my next tattoo. I'm not going to say this book is the reason because it's been in the back of my mind for a little while, but this kind of pushed me to really go ahead and make a decision on the next one that I want. So yeah, so if you're a tattoo person, I absolutely recommend reading this one because it was really fun reading about, because Livy's got a bunch of them. Like you see the one on the cover on her shoulder, which I think is just gorgeous. But she talks about how and why she got each of the different ones. And it's, there really is a story behind everybody's tattoos. And, because I like this or because I like that. So yeah, this one was a lot of fun. The next one that I finished, oh my gosh, you guys, I love this so much. I've been talking about this book, and I'm so thrilled that I loved it. There's Something About Sweetie by Sandhya Menon. YA contemporary romance. Book number 2 in the Dimple and Rishi series. So the way this fits into the Dimple and Rishi series is that this is Rishi's younger brother. So they kind of tie into each other. You do not have to have read the first one to read this one, but I do recommend that you read When Dimple Met Rishi because it's adorable too. This is going to be published on May 14th of 2019, so it comes out in about a month. Average rating of 4.47 stars on Goodreads. Guys, I gave it 5 stars. I did, for a bit, think about dropping it to 4.5, but I couldn't do it. I'm like, this totally deserves 5 stars, even though there's one thing in this book that I kind of bothered me just a little bit. So the premise of this story is about a girl by the name of Sweetie. And she is adorable, and I love her, and I wish at 17 I had a friend like her, you know what I mean? She is funny, she's, outgoing, she's happy with herself and her body. It's mentioned throughout the entire book that she is overweight. It doesn't say how overweight or anything at all like that. Doesn't really matter, but it is mentioned a lot that she is fat, essentially, and that's the wording that they use. Ashish, I'll call him Ash because that's how he goes by in the book. He is from a very, very prominent family. Like I said, his brother is Rishi from When Dimple Met Rishi, and he is a basketball star. And he's kind of a ladies' man, if you want to call him that. I think they're juniors in high school, and he fancies, or are they seniors? She turned 17 in the book, so that should tell you something. And he's been dating this college girl, like a girl who's in first year college, and she broke up with him to go date some other guy, and he was heartbroken. And he not forgot how to play basketball, but he stopped playing basketball as well. He kind of lost his mojo with the girls, that kind of an idea. So his friends are kind of like, well, you're in a funk, and it worked for your brother, so why don't you get your parents to set you up with somebody? So they end up setting them up. They know Sweetie from, their parents are kind of friends. Even though her parents are not as well-to-do, they still do well for themselves, but they're not as well-to-do, but their mothers are friends. So anyway, the mothers get together to discuss this. It's an Indian American family, if you weren't aware of that. Both of them are Indian American. And her mother drove me bonkers this entire book. Her mother was like, no, she's too fat for him. I'm like, what parent says that? I mean, later on it comes out in the book exactly why she's always said this to her daughter or about her daughter. But she's always like, you shouldn't wear that because you're too fat. You shouldn't do that because you're too fat. When she gets home from school, she has to go run laps in the backyard before she's allowed to come in and have an apple for a snack. And she runs track. She's like one of the best in the state. And, so obviously it's just her body. It's just how she's built. It's just who she is. And, it's kind of this big issue with her mother. So that part of it drove me crazy a little bit, but that wasn't the part that almost made me drop it a star rating. What almost made me drop it a star rating is that when she found out that her mother said no because of your size, she kind of went behind her mother's back, found his phone number and texted him and is like, hey, do you want to meet up? So then they start dating on the sly, without her parents knowing, and eventually fall for each other. My issue is that it was almost instantaneous. It was insta-love. And that's something that I don't care for in books. I'm sorry. There are some situations where I can kind of see it. This one, it just felt too quick for me. It didn't flow. It didn't play well for me. Sometimes it's done well. This case it was not. But it wasn't that it was minor. I was able to look past it because the rest of the book was so good. I couldn't put this book down. I mean, I just sat, I would come home at night and just because I was reading it, of course, on my Kindle, because I had an e-arc of it from NetGalley, and I absolutely loved it. If you are a fan of YA Contemporary and you have not read this author, you need to read her. When Dimple Met Rishi was fabulous. I think I gave that one 4 stars. From Twinkle with Love, I think got 4.5 stars, and then this one is another 5 stars. So, highly recommend. Great stories. Absolutely love this one. And the last book that I finished this week was The Foxe and the Hound by R.S. Gray. This one is another contemporary romance. It's contemporary romance week here on the channel. This was narrated on audio by Lucy Christina and Joe Arden. Published originally in 2017, average rating of 4.11 stars on Goodreads. I gave this one 4 stars. I read this one for the Heartbreak Hospital Square for the Romance-opoly Challenge that's hosted by the girls at the Under the Cover book blog and Jessica from Peace Love Books. So this one was a lot of fun. I found this one fit because you had to read a book about a doctor. So this one is about a vet who's an animal doctor. Totally fits. This was a absolutely fantastic romantic comedy. If you guys are fans of romantic comedies, you need to go check out this book. It is available as part of the Audible romance package. And this is the story of Madeline and Adam. And Madeline does not have her life together. She works for a real estate agency where she has sold 1 house in the last year. She is about to get kicked out of her apartment because she cannot pay her rent. And she just adopted this cute little puppy that they told her, was a mutt and probably won't get any bigger than a golden retriever. And it turns out he's actually a Burmese mountain dog, which are a little bit bigger. And she can't handle this dog. So she ends up meeting Adam when her dog literally runs him over in the street. And then meets him later because he's the new vet. And, the two of them kind of begin a relationship, but he's just come off of a 5-year relationship and he thinks he needs to take time to himself. But the two of them just keep meeting up and keep running into each other, and oh my gosh, it was so good. This one does have adult content in it as well, but it's not completely behind closed doors, but what you do see, if you will, is not overtly graphic or anything at all like that. You know, it's a little bit, but it's not the hate to love you kind of an idea. It's kind of the happy medium between the two. But yeah, again, a great romantic comedy. This book literally had me smiling right from the beginning. When I popped it in the car on my way to work the other day, I was just literally, when I got to work, I'm like, I just want to sit in my car and listen to the whole thing, because it was just so delightful. And yeah, really fun, and I absolutely recommend it. So anyway, guys, that is everything that I read this week. Yay! So, what am I currently reading? So, my current, I haven't started it yet, because I literally just finished the Foxe and the Hound. Tomorrow I will be starting, so these are like the books I'm currently reading, the books I plan to finish for next week, kind of an idea. Yes, I am reading 5 books at the same time, and I generally do have 4 or 5 books on the go at once, because, I can do that. Each book serves a different purpose, and is for a different time or a different place to listen to it. So my current audiobook is going to be, Tyler by Linda Leon Miller. Is it Tyler? Tyler, which is the 3rd book in the Montana Creed series. This is for my Stacking the Series challenge, a good contemporary romance, or a good cowboy contemporary romance, so that one should be a lot of fun. I'm currently reading on my e-reader a NetGalley book, which is Wonderland by Jennifer Cody Epstein, I believe. I didn't write down my currently reading, so I apologize if I mess anything up. This is a World War II historical fiction novel, and oh my gosh, you guys, this book, I'm about 40% of the way through this one right now, and it is so good. Oh my gosh, it's good. So, this one is about 2 friends. I don't want to give too much away. I'll talk about it more next week. This is a historical fiction novel. Did I say historical romance? I meant historical fiction novel. That goes back and forth between, like, 1980s New York to 1950s Germany to 1950, or World War II Germany. And it's about 2 friends, and then it's about the one friend's daughter, as the time goes on. But the one friend is German, and the other friend has just found out that she's half Jewish. And, you know, how everything kind of plays out from there. And, guys, it is amazing. It is, it's just so good and so well written. And I'm so enjoying it. Oh my gosh, if you are a fan of historical fiction, again, you will get my final thoughts on this one next week, because I will finish it in the next few days. But it is so good. So, the other books that I'm currently reading, I do have, my current Babysitters Club book that I'm almost finished. I probably will not have one next week, because I think the library says I still have a 2-week wait on the next Babysitters Club book, so I probably won't have one next week. But say that's the one I usually read a couple of chapters as I'm having my dinner, so it doesn't take me much time to do. But anyway, is Mallery and the Mystery Diary by Anna Merton, which I think is book number 29 in the series. I think, yeah. Sorry, coffee from McDonald's. Yeah, and it is currently 8:30 on Friday night, and I'm having a huge giant cup of coffee. Clearly, I don't need it. So last night on my way home from work, I have had a rather lousy week at work, and I decided to stop at the library because I just wanted to walk around the library, and I have begun to realize over the last, you guys are going to see this in my book haul, over the last month or so, how much I miss reading physical books. I love my e-reader, you guys know that. If anything, if you asked me to pick between physical books and my e-reader, I would pick my e-reader any day of the week. Just because of how versatile it is. That I can read that anywhere. You know, if I finish a book, I automatically have a million more books right at my fingertips. Whereas physical books are a little bit different. They're a little bulkier to carry around. I mean, I'm not going to do a whole pros and cons on ebooks or, you know, digital books versus print books. But I do love having a physical book on the go. And the other thing, I'll talk about this now just because I'm kind of getting into it. But this kind of will go to show you part of my my book haul, is that I am rebuilding my personal library. Slowly rebuilding most of my personal library. I had an extensive personal library before we moved. And then we just did not have the room, and I had to get rid of about 90% of my collection. Which, in retrospect, 90% of that 90% were books that I got for like next to nothing. because I'm a thrift store shopper. I don't generally buy brand new books. So anyway, we are going to be, over the next few months, rearranging our apartment. We're not building an addition or anything like that, but we are going to be rearranging the apartment a little bit to give us a bit more space, because that does make a difference. You know, you have a certain amount of space, but if you reorganize things properly, you can fit more stuff in, you know what I mean? And not stuff like we're going to fill the place with stuff. That's not my goal. But we're going to reorganize. We're probably going to purge some stuff as well. But it's going to allow me to possibly get in here up to 4, maybe even 5 bookcases. So I'm ecstatic. So I want to rebuild my personal library. And I kind of want to have a print book on the go. So I've actually gone through my TBR for the month of March. Or we're not in March, we're in April. And 4 of the audiobooks that I was going to be listening to, I have now moved over to print books. So for the rest of the month, I'll be having a print book on the go. The other thing is too, I was mentioning this to my husband last night, that I've noticed, is that all day long I stare at a computer screen at work. And then I go and I take my lunch. And I'm staring at my tablet, or my phone, or whatever I happen to have on me that I'm reading a book on. And then by the time I get home, my eyes are so tired that it's kind of nice over that hour break at lunch to give your eyes a rest and read like a print book, like without having that glare. Do you know what I mean? So long story short, back to what I was talking about. I stopped at the library yesterday and I was perusing through the aisles and I found this book. And this is a book I've wanted to read since it came out about a year or so ago. And this is A Distant Heart by Sandhya Dev. She wrote A Bollywood Bride and A Bollywood Affair. I love her books. I think they're fantastic. So I ended up picking up this one, and I have literally just started it today. But this one, I'm actually, like I said, I moved 4 of my audiobooks off of my TBR, and I replaced them with print books. 3 of them I am doing like for like. So the book that was on audio is now the same book as a print book. But this one I actually switched it up because I picked this one up without thinking I was going to do this. And I got home and realized that the book that I had for my monthly challenge for the month, for the first one, which is A is for April, you know, read a book that starts with the letter A or an author whose first and last name starts with the letter A, it totally works. So I removed that book and I'm going to read this one instead, and I'm super excited. Yes, I did mark off pages, so I know, you know, how much I'd like to read every day. But yeah, so I am super thrilled. I am so happy to have print books again and to have a book to carry around with me and a book to read. You know, at the end of the day, I am a fan of digital 130%. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It is the way reading is going. But while I still have the option to pick up print books, I'm going to, because eventually, let's be honest, and I could see this in my lifetime, these could be gone. You know, like, they might not be making any more new print books. Everything might be digital. And I'm starting to notice that too. You know, like, a lot of stuff is now strictly digital. You know, a lot of indie authors and things like that. And, you know, my NetGalley books are, of course, all going to be digital. But there's just something about having a print book, and that's such a pretty cover, isn't it? And I do love, I'm such a fan of floppy paperbacks, but you're going to notice from my book haul, it's mostly mass market, but it is what it is. So, yes, so I'm currently reading that. Excuse me. My current 40 Years of Harlequin project book is A Winter's Rose by Erica Spindler. This one I'm enjoying quite a bit. I'm about 60 pages through it already. And it's about a woman by the name of Bentley. And Bentley is very well-to-do. She comes from a very wealthy family in Texas. No shocker there, eh, guys? And she married very, very wealthy. And now she's divorced. And she has decided she wants to go out on her own. Like, her parents are pretty much going to take care of her. She has a couple gold cards. You know, they're pretty much paying for her townhouse. She's never worked a job in her life. And she kind of wants to make it on her own. So she ends up getting this job as a nanny for a rather angry 13-year-old girl who feels like her mother and father don't make enough time for her. And of course, you know, our main girl here is going to kind of have a relationship with the father, so that should be interesting. But yeah, our main character, in a way, she reminds me of Rachel from Friends, if you guys remember. If you guys watch, like, the first season of Friends, where Rachel, like, cut up the credit cards and all that, that's kind of what it reminded me of. But yeah, so far, this one is really enjoyable. Sorry about that, guys. I had to kind of pause that relatively quickly right there because my phone popped up saying I had, like, almost 0 battery power left. So I had to figure out how to plug it in and still, like, because the plug is, of course, way over there. So I had to, like, never mind. Anyway, it was a whole thing. But we're now all plugged in and we've got juice going into the phone so I can continue recording. Yay! Because I still have 2 videos I want to record after this one. So anyway, Next 40 Years of Harlequin book that we have here is our 1994 book. So, you guys know I like to open these. This one will be getting read during the week next week, but I won't finish it next week. So we have got... Oh! Oh, Linda Randall Winsdom. Vegas Vows. This is a American romance, a Harlequin American romance, number 541. Let's look at that cover, you guys. Motorcycle in that dress. That does not look safe for riding that. Like, what if that gets caught in the spokes? That's just a bad... And neither one of them are wearing a helmet. Bad form, people. This is part of the Go Into the Chapel series. So, let's see what it says here. For Robin Sinclair, the dirtiest words in the English language were I do. The only vow this Vegas talk show host was going to take was to stay single. Then her show went on location to the tacky, wacky world of weddings, home of the ultimate in bridal bliss and of the sinfully sexy managing director Matt Dillon. Seriously, Matt Dillon, that's his name. Is that not an actor? Yeah, Garrett's nodding his head at me. Not the same guy. Jilted at the altar, Matt has made a vow of his own. But for a man who has spent his life making women's fantasies come true, it was hard to turn away from his own fantasy in the flesh. Maybe it was the white lace. Maybe it was the champagne. But suddenly walking down the aisle no longer seemed like walking the gangplank. Now how did he convince her to take the plunge? Oh, that sounds adorable. Atypical contemporary romance. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really do like the cover on that one. It's so 90s, right? But yeah, this one should be a lot of fun. Oh, I'm looking forward to that one quite a bit. So, now into the massive book haul. All right, so first of all, let me talk about the 3 digital books I bought this week. Yes, I bought 3 digital books. I actually tamed myself from buying more because I bought so many print books. So, the first one I got was Autumn Chill in Utah Springs by Rayanne Thane. This is book number 5 in the Searcher series. This is a reissue of an older silhouette intimate moments book, I believe. I'll put the original cover over here as well. But yeah, so this is a reissue, and they even retitled it, which I'm sorry. That kind of bothers me because you're looking at this going, hey, that's a new book, and then realize, oh, no, it's a book that came out in whatever year it was. So, it does say it on Goodreads that if you looked, it would say this book was originally published as, or you can always look at the covers, like the alternate covers on Goodreads too, just in case. The next one I got, this one looked really cute. So that one was, these are all daily deals. None of these are any of the monthly deals. Like I said, I didn't buy any of those this week. Is The Peppermint Mocha Murder by Colette London. This one looked really cute. It's book number 5 in the A Chocolate Whisperer mystery. So it's a cozy mystery series. Holiday, of course. You guys know I love all things Christmas, so this one had to be picked up. And the last one was Want You More by Nicole Helm. This is book number 3 in A Mile High Romance. I'm a big fan of Nicole Helm's work. I think she is a really fun author. So, without knocking over the camera, because I've got books all over the place, we will get into the first ones that I picked up. So I was at the thrift store last Sunday, and I can't believe I found these, you guys. Like, this was a find and a half. I got really lucky with some of the books I found this week. So I was there, I was wandering around, and I saw these 3, and I picked them up immediately and said, yes, please. So the first one is The Wedding Date by Yasmin Galori. Is that her name? I'm probably saying that horribly wrong, and I do apologize. But everybody's talking about this book. People have said they really, really loved it. It's about 2 people who meet in an elevator at a wedding, and a relationship kind of goes from there. And, I mean, it's in great condition. It was $2. I'm like, yes, please. So, of course, I picked up this one. The next one that I grabbed is Lori Foster. This is Cooper's Charm. I do have a copy of this on ebook, but I mean, it's a print book and I have not read it yet. That's going to be the one caveat as I'm kind of rebuilding this library of mine, is that I'm not buying books I've already read. You know, like if I've already read the book, I'm not buying a copy of it. And if it's a book I own as an ebook, I'm not buying a new copy of it, like a brand new edition. If I happen upon it like this at a thrift store for $2, yes, I will pick it up. But I am not, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's just me. Sorry, my throat's bothering me. Unless I really, really have to have it, like it's a very favorite author. And I do like Lori Foster's writing, But again, for $2, I couldn't say no to this with the adorable dog. Dogs are going to be the theme of this book haul you guys are about to find out. So yeah, so I got this one too. And then the last one, talking about books that are being talked about everywhere, at the thrift store, 99% My by Sally Thorne. Yes, I found this one. Again, it looks like it's never even been read. So yes, please, I will take it. Looking forward to this one. I don't know too much about it, but I'm seeing it all over Bookstagram and BookTube, so very, very much looking forward to this one. So then, like I said, I kind of had a really bad day today, so I decided to stop at the National Thrift Store. That's what it's called. And I picked up, oh, that goes over here. And it's buy 4, get 1 free, so you know I picked up 5 books. So I grabbed, these are all mass market paperbacks, Don't Bargain with the Devil by Sabrina Jeffries. So that one looks like it's going to be really good. It's Sabrina Jeffries. I just love her. I don't know. This is the School for Heiresses series. I do not know what number it is in the series. Might be the first one. Wed Him Before You Bed Him is the first one. So no, this is not the first one, but I do have this one now, which is fantastic. This one is one I have not heard about, but it was in really good condition, so I decided to pick it up. And it's A Lady's Revenge by Tracy Devlin. A nice, another historical romance. That one looks really good. Another one I was not too familiar with is Lady Maggie's Secret Scandal by Grace Burrows. I have heard her talked about before, so this one sounds like it's going to be quite good. Historical romances, I was just kind of in the mood, I guess. And then 2 cowboy romances, because why not? We've got The First Time at Firefly Falls by Julie Ann Long. This is a Hellcat Canyon novel. That one looks really good. And then we've got Hell Yeah by Carolyn Brown. Don't know too much about this one. Our spark's gonna fly when he shows up. You guys know I am really enjoying Carolyn Brown's writing, so this one looks like a lot of fun. I don't know if it's part of a series or what have you, but yeah, so that one should be really good too. And then the books that, okay, and then I found 9 books, but I'm gonna show you this one first because then I'm gonna get into the other 9 books. So I had to make it 10 because, again, buy 4, get 1 free. Oh, and I had gone over to Value Village. So I left the one thrift store and went to the other thrift store. Because why not? And I got this one by Susan Mallery, Daughters of the Bride. So I've not read this one. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I believe, what's it about? Oh yeah, it's about 3 sisters who, a misfit, a free spirit, and a cynic, who are all kind of, you know, helping out with their mother's wedding. So that one sounds like a lot of fun. And it's a Susan Mallery, so, you know, you can't say no to that. So, excuse me, I'm just going to reach down here and grab the other books. So I was perusing around through, you know, the bookstore, or the thrift store, and I saw the spines of these, and I went, oh, I've seen those pop up lately on Instagram, like, for a lot of the authors that I follow. And Harlequin will release special edition books. You know, often bind-ups of 2 novels, or, you know, just a special release or something like that. And they've been releasing these books slowly since last summer, I think. And somebody, obviously, had bought them and never read them. These are in mint condition, you guys. So these are from a series called Must Love Dogs. You see that up there? Must Love Dogs. And it's on the spine. They have never been read. These are bind-ups of 2 novels that all feature dogs, written by different Harlequin authors. And these are books, I did look, some of them are part of the Harlequin American Romance line, or now the Western Romance, or was the Western Romance line, or the Harlequin Special Edition line. So it's 2 books in 1. Now, this is the find, you guys. I got 9 of these. There were 9 of them. I grabbed every single one that they had because I wanted them for my collection. And to read as well, of course. These retail for $7.25 each. Because they're Harlequin books, they are 99 cents a piece at Value Village. So I got, including the Susan Mallery, I got 10 books for $8. Thank you very much. So, like I said, I got 9 of these. I'm just going to show them to you relatively quickly. So we got The Cowboy's Surprise by Kathy Gillian Thacker and Allie Olson, previously published as The Texans Cowboys Baby Rescue, and The Bull Riders Twin Trouble. Now, I looked. This book does not come out till June. So somebody obviously was getting these as a subscription and never read them and just took them into the thrift store. So I am missing 3 of them of all the ones that have been published so far. So I've ordered one of them already, and I'm going to order the other 2 next week. So I will have all of them to date because I do want them all. And I'm thinking maybe starting in May, I might pick one of these every month to read, you know, both of the stories. So yes, I got that one. Rescue on the Ranch by Cindy Kirk and Amanda Renee. Previously published as Fortune's Little Heartbreaker and Wrangling Cupid's Cowboy. I love that dog on the cover. I think he's so cute. I kind of love like a mutt dog. That's, if I was going to get a dog, I would want a mutt dog. Or I'd want one of these, a golden retriever. Girl's Best Friend by Katie Meyer. So these are both books by the same author. Previously published as The Puppy Proposal and A Valentine for the Veterinarian. Sounds adorable. And then we have An Unexpected Rescue by Marian Lennox and Tracy Madison. Previously published as Abby and the Bachelor Cop, which I think I might have read, but I can't 100% be sure. And A Bride for the Mountain Man. That one looks cute too. And again, guys, these are all in... They've never been read. I can't believe it. This was like the find of the week. We have An Unlikely Match by Marian Lennox. We've got published as Nikki and the Lone Wolf and Misty and the Single Dad. I have a feeling that those might have been duet novels previously. I could be wrong. No, they were published in 2011, so they weren't have been duet novels. But yeah, very much looking forward to that one. It looks adorable. And then we got, with a beautiful chocolate brown lab on the front, Trusting the Rancher by Kathy Gillian Thacker and Pamela Britton. Previously published as The Rancher Next Door and Winning the Rancher's Heart. Love, I'm so thrilled that I found these. And you guys know, I'm a cat person. Is that tail? That's a tail right there. But I do love dogs. I really, really do. We have Texas Puppy Love by Helen R. Myers and Amy Woods. Previously published as The Dashing Doc Next Door and Puppy Love for the Veterinarian. Very cute. And then we have, oh, and these are all available as ebooks if you guys want to pick them up for yourself for any reason. I will leave them all listed in the description box below. We have The Littlest Matchmaker by Marie Farinella and Nikki Logan. Look at that guy on the front. Previously published as Diamond in the Rough, R-U-F-F, and I'm pretty sure I have that book on my shelf, but that's okay. And Slow Dance with the Sheriff. I think I might have that one too, but yeah, that one sounds adorable. They're bind-ups, and I had to get them because, you know, hello, they were 99 cents. And then last but not least, Falling for Mr. Right by Michelle Major and Melissa McClone. Look at that guy on the front. I love him. I mean the dog. He's not bad, but the dog. And we have previously published as Still the One and His Proposal, There Forever. So yeah. So there is my massive book haul, you guys. So I'm really, really quickly, because I know this video is running long, because I've been yapping a little bit in it. But let me show you guys my crafting, and then I will let you guys go. So, what have I been working on this week? We shall start off with the knitting. So my socks, I got a bit of work done on my socks. I am ready to put the heel in. That is my game plan for tomorrow. So there's where I was. Oh, the lighting's really great because I moved the lighting. So that's where I was last week when I showed you guys. Oh, look at the colors in these socks. You can really see it now, eh? And that's, you know, like I said, I'm ready to put the heel in these. So the sock pattern that I'm using is called Running Through by Brandy Miller. Of course, it will be linked in the description box below. It is a very well written pattern. It is a paid for pattern. Absolutely worth every penny. I highly recommend that you go and pick it up. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So this is the second sock. So I am almost done. I only have the leg to do. And then I can start a new pair of socks. Yay! And then the next thing that's gotten some love that I haven't shown you guys in a few weeks is... Now, did I mention my scarf? So I think I did the last time I showed this to you guys. That I'm knitting the Northeasterly pattern. I cannot remember the designer's name off the top of my head. I do apologize. But, and I have to weave an ends on this. But instead of turning this into a blanket, I've decided to turn it into a scarf. So this is going to be, as I'm calling it, the Northeasterly scarf. So there is what I've gotten done. And it's just going to be a ragtag. Yeah, that's the right way around. A ragtag kind of, you know, piecemeal, different yarn, awesome winter scarf for next year. So that's where I was the last time that I showed you guys. So I've added all of these in. Now this... that from the red down to the pink was all one yarn, and that is the yarn that I actually designed it, sort of, kind of. I mentioned this before a while ago. There is a book called something Romeo. Oh my gosh, I cannot remember the name of it now. Lisa Raven wrote it. I've got a picture of it up here. I cannot remember its name right now. Something Romeo. But the yarn dyer was looking for suggestions, and it was a whole thing a couple years ago. Anyway, I posted that cover, that book cover, and she picked that book cover as a yarn to do, and I got this skein for free. So it became a pair of socks, and I had to add a stripe of it into my scarf. So yeah, so that one's really cool. And then so I added, like I said, from there down, and then I also added this one and this one. So I'm like building, like I'll build some more on this weekend, and then I'll go down. Eventually this is going to be, you know, scarf length, but I think it's a good width. Personally, I think it's a good width for a scarf. So it'll be a lot of fun. I just love like the whole patchwork look to it. So yeah, so that got some love this week in my Gorn and Logan bag. That's my 2 kitty cat bag. And then, oh, it's 9 o'clock at night. I've been here for a little while yapping to you guys. My sweater got some love this week. This is my Land Glade by Melissa Shishwari is the designer. It is almost done. Sorry, the color is actually blowing out with the camera. But that's where I was the last time I showed you guys, where that little stitch marker is. And that's how much I've gotten done. So I'm on the ribbing. Once I get the ribbing done, I can pick up the sleeves, and then this puppy will be done. I cannot wait. I do love it. It's going to be so comfy and cozy. I love the color. It's got this great lace pattern on the sleeves, which is going to be great. And I'm also going to have to pick up around here, around the collar to pick it up. I'm debating though. I might just clean it up and kind of leave it rolled. I kind of like the way that looks the more I'm staring at it, because it calls for you to do ribbing, right? But I might see and just kind of clean up those edges and just, you know, just do a couple rows just to make it even. But I kind of really like the way that looks. I'm going to try it on when I'm done. It might get that whole boat neck kind of a look, so we shall see. I don't know. That's the bonus part about knitting something for yourself, like a sweater. You can do whatever you want. You don't necessarily 100% have to follow the pattern. And then the last thing, I think I showed you guys last week that I had finished, I did show you guys that I finished my cross stitch. My Samhain cross stitch, but now I'm working on one for my husband. And this one I worked on for most of last weekend, and I got quite a bit of it done. I'm quite pleased. Pull it out here. So this is a World of Warcraft inspired cross stitch. And it says, what does it say, Garrett? Home is where the what is? Home is where the hearth is. It's a World of Warcraft thing. I don't know. But yeah, I'm working on this thing here. Those are all flowers, as you guys can see, and then all the wording. I love the fact that it's like World of Warcraft, but it looks like an old school sampler. So there's a set of 5 of these. This one, 2 weird looking dudes, and 2 symbols. As you can tell, I do not play Warcraft. But eventually I'm going to cross stitch all of them for Garrett. So, and then he can do what he wants with them. Hang them up in his room, you know. He's mimicking tossing them away. You know what? If you don't want them...
Why would you say do what you want with them? Just say put them somewhere nice.
Put them somewhere nice, dear. Okay, I mentioned at the very beginning that he is using his 3D printer. He 3D printed himself a back scratcher that he's totally using right now.
Hey, let me tell you that this is a hit for both cats.
He also made this thing that is like for cats. And it's a roller with like little bumpies on it, and both the cats love it, so that's cool. Anyway, I've rambled way too long in this video. So yeah, so there is my next cross stitch. I plan to get a lot more cross stitched on this weekend. Real life stuff, very, very quickly. It has been a long week. One of my coworkers was on vacation this week, so I was extra busy. The week went so quickly, I cannot believe it's already Friday. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to report other than there's a tail, right? It's like the Flintstones, right? Neat, neat. Maybe in some of the other videos you guys will see this week, maybe he will come down from the tower. So yeah, videos coming this week. I have a Amish reads recommendation to get ready for Amish in April coming at the end of this month. And I also have my Harlequin anticipated reads video is coming up as well, so that's exciting. So anyway, guys, that is it. Sorry for the extra long video this week, but I know most of you guys do not care, and I will talk to you guys all in my next video. Until then, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.